What up, people? Welcome back to episode number 104 today of our My Player Career Mode. 5 games for you all to watch, so sit back and enjoy these games that are to come. There's some absolute crackers in there and a few fantastic goals as well. But just before we start today's episode off, I want to say thank you as continued for all of your support on the channel and on this series in particular. I know, of course, leaving for West Ham is not everybody's ideal situation, because as you're expecting to see, Ben at 95 rated should be playing at the world's best clubs. But as you know, it's a bit tough when you get to the top rating scales. Nobody really has the money to be able to afford you anymore. So the loan was the best option. But regardless, first game coming at you comes against Nottingham Forest, and they are currently sat bottom on the lowest scoring teams in the division so far. So this one should be one of these clean sheets that West Ham pick up. As you know, they're not really the greatest in terms of being able to defend. They've just been able to outscore people recently, and that's pretty much the reason why they're doing okay. But defensively, they're not that great. So you'd like to think that this might be one of their only clean sheets they're maybe going to pick up this season. But the Forest side isn't that good, and I've got a feeling they may struggle this season in order to try and stay up. But the first chance did fall the way of the home side, 25 minutes in, and they really should have taken the lead. I don't quite know how that one stayed outright there. It was a decent save, but in all honesty, it should have been West Ham leading. As we continue into the second, they did eventually find their breakthrough. You can see Ben, way too much time and space, gets into that open space, and then with his weaker right foot, just finishes the move off quite comfortably. I mean, there, you'd like to put money if you're a betting man for him to finish that one off. Good flick on, and nobody picks him up, and he goes straight through the middle. But you have to give major credit to Mikel Antonio, because the run from him is what opens up the space in order for Ben to run into it. So major credit goes to the striker there, and that is West Ham's first goal of today's game. But they weren't leading for too long, because 62 minutes in, Liam Bridcut here on the ball for Nottingham Forest found Silla. He eventually does well to get it back to Bridcut, and a little 1-2 between those two guys before a through ball towards Zach Clough made its way through, and he had a cool, composed finish to equalise the game up. That was Nottingham Forest's first chance as well, and West Ham were only leading for a matter of minutes. Great play from Forest, considering the fact they're the lowest scoring team in the division so far. You wouldn't expect it with a move like that. A really nice passing piece of play there. And as I said, the through ball in order to get it through to Zach Clough, and the finish, you know, it's decent, but you have to question what Sillerson's doing. Honestly, I don't know what on earth this dive is from the goalkeeper. Nevertheless, good finish, and it was one apiece with not too long left in this one to try and change it. But they still have time, and they've still got Ben pulling the strings, so you can bet chances would come. 67 minutes in, he switches the play there with that ball, eventually gets it back through the middle, lovely turn, a little bit lucky to get the ball still here, but eventually he just uses his head there in order to look up, see the run, and there was Antonio who made it. The through ball through to him. He set up the first goal in many ways with that run through that allowed Ben to run into that space. Well, he's got his just reward there. Ben returning the favour, setting him up for that one. And it's West Ham United 2, Nottingham Forest 1. 20 or so minutes left of this one. Can West Ham do better than they did earlier in trying to stop themselves conceding straight after getting the lead back? We'll find out. But Mikel Antonio scored his first Premier League goal so far of the season. It's weird to say that, but it is a weird kind of setup. They've got a few strikers here, West Ham, and they don't seem to be set on just one. Sometimes it's Alcacer, sometimes it's Antonio. Honestly, they keep swapping them around. But we continue on, and when you've got Ben, stuff like this just happens on a regular. Take a look at that. He took it past 3 or 4 Nottingham Forest players before smashing it home to make it 3-1 to West Ham. And that all started in his own half. Got to be honest, and this is where my critical part of me comes out. I've got completely no idea what Nottingham Forest are doing. They should have put a tackle in way back when he beat the first man and kind of was running at pace towards goal, and you saw a few Nottingham Forest players trying to get in there to stop him. At that point, they should have brought him down and tried to stop him in his tracks, because you knew something was going to happen with him running at speed and doing what he did. And it did happen. He scored his second of the afternoon, and there was the victory for West Ham. A full 3 points from the opening game of today's episode. 3-1 win as well. And it gave a whole heap of confidence heading into this, which is a must-win game against Red Bull Salzburg in order to try and get themselves out of their Champions League group. If they don't win this one and Fiorentina get the right result against PSG, it's going to go to the final game against PSG to try and get themselves out of the group. But if they do win, they'll be mathematically secure, provided that PSG beat Fiorentina or that they draw the game. So that's the league table, as you can see right there on your screen. Victory for West Ham will put them onto 10 points. Of course, the draw for Fiorentina will put them onto 6, which will be mathematically impossible for them to catch them. And then it will just go into the last game against PSG to try and win the group, basically. So they just need to win here against this Salzburg team. That's the side that Bilic picked in order to try and do this. As I said, no Antonio. He's been swapped out for this one for Paco Alcacer, or Alcacer, however you want to say it. That's the team that Salzburg have got. And I think, on paper, West Ham should be quite comfortably winning this game. At the London Stadium as well, the home advantage should give them that extra little bit of the edge. But things didn't exactly go to plan in the opening parts of this one, as a really, really sloppy defensive mistake made by West Ham set up Salzburg, and they took the lead in 18 minutes. I don't know why West Ham didn't clear their lines a couple of times. They had a few opportunities to do so. They didn't do it, and in the end, they were punished for it. So, yeah, they're going to have to come back from a 0-0 down in order to try and get the right result here. But nevertheless, good work from their opponents today to set up the chance and score it as well. Another good move against West Ham we're seeing. But, yeah, as I said, disappointing. They should have cleared their lines a couple of times, and they just did not do that. However, with the goal happening so early on in the game, there's always going to be time and chances for them in this one. Ben, here we go, 32 minutes in, looking for that equaliser instantly. Unfortunately, could only hit the woodwork after a really nice move as well. For a second, it felt like it should have been West Ham back in this one. And they continued the pressure. Ben getting very lucky here to steal it back off the man. Feeds it to Alcacer. And his shot goes off the woodwork. I've just realised I've said his name like 3 different ways in this episode so far. I'm going to say Alcacer from now on, all right? That's the one I'm going to use. But, yeah, 40 minutes in after that, straight from that chance, it fell to Ben, and he would equalise the score at 1 apiece from the throw-in. Lovely move, 1-2 in the middle of the park. And in the end, he gets through and keeps a calm head in order to score his 3rd in 2 games so far for the episode. What a performance he is having. But more importantly for West Ham, got them back on level terms, and it gave them that momentum moving forward. Wasn't the cleanest finish in the world, and again from the goalkeeper, maybe could be doing better with it. But the most important bit is he kept it low. That's what you want to see. You want to see the shots kept low, making it hard for the keepers to get down and make the save. So you can take nothing away from the finish from Ben. But as it stood, 1 apiece, it's not enough a single point to give them mathematic securing, I guess you could say, of themselves out of the group. So at half-time, we also didn't know what the score against Fiorentina and PSG was, because I didn't check it, because I'm an absolute mug. But moving into the second, we were looking to continue the pace, and Ben again, just doing what Ben does, really, and sets up his teammate, Alcacer, goes through, 2-1 West Ham. And if they keep the way they are, this is going to be a whitewash, because since Salzburg went 1-0 up, they really could not cope with Ben. He was picking up the ball, running at them, causing them all sorts of danger. Again, defensively a little bit weak, but once again, take him down. When he's running at you like that and he's beaten a couple of players already, bring him down. Just don't allow him to continue that run, because that's normally what happens. And he is on fire in this episode so far. What's that now? He assisted the last game as well, so that's 2 assists, 3 goals in the last 2 games, continuing his good form. And once again, look at that for a turn. Beats his man. Feeds another one. This is just tremendous play from West Ham. Unfortunately, they couldn't finish the move off. It did have to be a goalkeeping save to then set up Sidebe, who tapped home to make it 3-1 to the home side. But the move was just brilliant from West Ham. And that showed you the confidence that they were playing with. And in many ways, that's because they've got Ben. You know, he kind of gives this team a little bit more confidence in order to be able to create these chances. But once again, they were not done there. They're 3-1 up at this point, looking for a 4th. He didn't get credited the assist for the last one, but he will get credited the assist for this one. 4-1 up against Salzburg after going 1-0 down. With 3 minutes left of normal time, West Ham have surely now put a massive foot into the next round of the Champions League. Even with that PSG game still to come for the 6th one of the group stage, I'm confident that West Ham are in the knockout rounds. And let me just say this as well. If you're watching this on the Wednesday, how about Liverpool's performance last night in real life? 5-2 over Roma. I've got to say, though, I'm a little bit worried in the aspect that Roma did get the 2 away goals. What do you guys think about that game in real life, of course? I sat there yesterday, saw it play out, and when Liverpool went 5-0 up, I was in astonishment. But then the 2 goals came in for Roma, and maybe part of me now thinks that they only need that 3-0 back in Italy, and they are through. So, can they hold out defensively against Liverpool, who scored 5 against them at Anfield, and only win the game by 3-0. That's going to be the question mark for Roma. It's going to be tough, but there's still every chance they can do it. The 2 away goals might come back to bite Liverpool in the backside. We'll see. Obviously, being the only English team left in the competition, it would be nice for them to get through to the final and potentially win it. I'll be supporting them on the way. But of course, they played exceptionally well last night in order to win that game 5-2. And of course, Mohamed Salah as well. We know the Egyptian king. He's already got PFA Player of the Year, but the way he's playing right now, there's no reason why he couldn't be shortlisted potentially for Player of the Year. But in terms of like the Ballon d'Or, I meant, not of course the other one. But regardless, enough away from the real life stuff. If you got a comment for that one, leave it below. I like seeing your guys' comments on real world stuff, especially that game was an astonishing one. And full credit to Liverpool, the way they played was brilliant. But second to last game now coming at you. This one against Spurs back in the Premier League. I should have shown you the group stage of the Champions League. I forgot to do it. I'll show you it before we go into game against PSG next episode out, because I can confirm that it's mathematically secure now. West Ham will be in the knockout rounds of the Champions League. Ben, who won the competition last season with Manchester United, is looking to defend it this season, potentially in a different team, which is kind of strange. But can you defend it, I guess? If you're playing for a different squad, well, probably not. But regardless, this one against Spurs started off well for West Ham. They created a chance early on, Ben with it, but then Harry Kane had to pop up and give Spurs the lead 17 minutes in, of course. Ben against the former club here in the former Spurs. He knows all about that Harry Kane matchup because he used to be the partner of Harry Kane. Him and Kane used to bang them in for fun. This time around, he's on the receiving end of a Kane strike as West Ham went 1-0 down and very nearly went 2-0 down just before the end of the game. Eriksen getting through. He shot narrowly wide, but that summed up the afternoon. A sad 1-0 defeat for West Ham United in what has been a great episode so far, where Ben has just, popped off. Had so many good plays and played so well throughout it. Unfortunately there, they suffered a 1-0 defeat. But games like that do often happen, and it's sad to see. But at the end of the day, they're doing well enough. They're climbing the table, and Spurs are always a tough opponent. So as Kane clapped the fans to say thank you, it was his goal that made the difference in this one. The one and only goal, and it came from Harry Kane. Why can't he do that when we're playing international games? Ben in England, they've been so disappointing in this series, to say the least. It's just so frustrating. I'm hoping it's going to be a different story next time, but we'll see. But the final game now, coming at you, it's going to be Newcastle. This one is the last one of today's episode. So if you haven't already, and you have enjoyed the episode, smash that like button. And you guys, if you're new around here, which is any people new to the channel, which I don't know why you are here, if you enjoy what you see, then also hit that subscribe button. Why not? It is free at the end of the day, and you never know. You might like to stick around and see some other stuff that's going on the channel. But for the second time in the episode today, we're facing the lowest scoring team in the competition. Nottingham Forest were it earlier on. This time, Newcastle have gone to the bottom of the division in terms of their goals. So, again, another low-scoring one. Hopefully will be a clean sheet for West Ham. But look what happened last time I said that. Nottingham Forest scored to make it 1-1. That is the Newcastle side. Of course, Ben, the form he's in right now, we're expecting this one to be the Ben Wood show yet again. So as the game got underway, Newcastle, I really don't know what on earth they were doing here. They were trying to play out from the back far too many times. Gave the ball away there. There is Ben, asking for it to be played. Nice little 1-2 with the Newcastle player there. Gets it back as well. And eventually opens up the scoring to make it West Ham 1, Newcastle 0. I don't know what on earth Newcastle were trying to do there. Playing out the back, they should have just cleared their lines. It's silly mistakes like that that tend to come back and cost you. And to make matters worse, it's gone through the legs of a defender in order to go in the back of the net. I actually think as well that might be like Ben's third or fourth strike on his right foot this season. And if you don't know, we're trying to improve Ben's weak foot. And he's only got a 2-star at the moment, but we only need to score, I think, 3 more weak foot goals in order to get that, 3-star weak foot. But talking about that, we couldn't get another clean sheet because Newcastle did score with 12 minutes left of the timer. And it's, again, another mistake by us. I don't know what to say. I don't know what's going wrong. They're just not concentrating for the full 90 minutes. The man gets free in the middle. I think it was Ben who actually gave away the ball in the middle of the park. And then Mitrovic, he's just completely unmarked. He goes through, makes it 1-1. And West Ham may have given away their 3 points that looked so good initially. But from the kickoff, they were looking to make an instant reply. A lovely piece of play, this one. Good turn from Ben. Gets past 1, gets past 2. The run is made. Don't know where that defender's going. See you later, mate. And Alcesa goes through. And it's West Ham United 2, Newcastle 1. The former Barca man puts his side back in front after coming off the bench for this one. And with 9 minutes remaining, Newcastle had scored to make it 1-1, but instantly conceded to then go back a goal down. So, great move, great finish as well. And once again, it's disappointing goalkeeping. But when they keep it low, it's so hard for a goalkeeper to try and get down low to make the saves in the first place. There's just, normally you don't see it happening. So again, another good finish. And West Ham, potentially embarrassment avoided. But again, they can't get that clean sheet. And it's annoying because we want to see it happen. But 85 minutes in, lovely play here. I genuinely have no words for what you're about to see. Ben kind of just chips a half-hearted ball over the top. But then Alcacer makes something of it. A volley from the edge of the area to beat the goalkeeper. He's off his line. I don't know why he's off his line, but regardless, what a strike this is. And it's worth another look. But again, the ball that was played by Ben was just so half-hearted. Nothing expecting to come of this one. But he makes full work of it. The question is, why is the keeper that far off his line? I don't actually know, because it's not a clean strike. We're not going to say it's a clean strike, but if it had been on his line, that wouldn't have gone in. So I guess you could say that. But regardless, that is how this game would come to a close. A 3-1 victory for West Ham. And it was the end of the game. The 3 points on the board as well. And that is where we'll end today's episode off. If you did enjoy it, a like would be greatly appreciated. I've got to go to work now. So if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload on the channel. If you haven't already voted on the new career mode that's coming out on the channel, make sure you do. It's a video that should be out on there so you can cast your vote with the 4 teams included. I will see you all again at 4 PM, guys, for another video tomorrow. Catch you all then. Adios.